Special delivery. I don't think it's a good idea for us to meet out in the open on deck like this, Butch. We shouldn't be seen together. We'll be fine, Butch said to the little man who had gotten him onto the Kollenkoff. By the way, I never did catch your name. Mitch, the man said. Snitch, Butch thought. We're alone up here, Mitch, Butch said. If someone comes along, it's just 2 crew members getting some fresh air and shooting the breeze. I'm serious, Mitch insisted. Something's up. Phil just called a bunch of us to meet with him and Wolf. Everyone on the list has been on cryptos for almost the beginning. I think they know there's a stowaway and one of us helped him get aboard. Butch snorted. You're way behind them. By now, they know the stowaway is me. Mitch looked like he was going to be sick. What are you going to do? Butch pointed across the water towards Blackwood ships. See those lights? Endangered 1 and 2. That's all anyone's been talking about since they anchored. Do you think Noah's aboard? He's aboard, Butch said, although he didn't know for certain. I might be able to get you a life raft, Mitch said. You can reach him in no time. And leave you here alone? Butch said. I'll be okay. I'll be feeding Noah's information for years, and they haven't caught me yet. Noah, Butch thought, and almost laughed, like this little snitch is on a first-name basis with Noah Blackwood. Butch himself wasn't even on a first-name basis with Dr. Blackwood. In fact, the only person he knew who was on a first-name basis with Noah Blackwood was Travis Wolf, which annoyed Butch to no end. Butch took out the gizmo and thumbed in a message to Dr. Blackwood. Are you telling Noah you're coming? Something like that. I don't have time to get a raft, and I might get caught. I guess I'm going to have to swim. It's not that far, Mitch said, and the sea's calm. So you're a pretty good swimmer. I swim like a fish. Butch nodded and took a waterproof bag out of his pocket. Inside were several folded sheets of paper. He slipped the gizmo in with the papers and resealed the bag. I won't be needing this anymore, he said, and shoved the deep bag into the snitch's pocket. Noah might want it, Mitch said. You're right, Butch said, and you better make sure he gets it. What? Butch answered by pushing Mitch, the snitch, over the rail. Mitch was not nearly as fast or lucky as Marty O'Hara. He hit the cold water 2 seconds after the push. Butch walked away from the railing, whistling, hoping for Mitch's sake that Blackwood was checking his email. Noah Blackwood was in the middle of typing a press release to his public relations firm. Even though exhausted from my recent ordeal in the Congo, I have decided to join my good friends, the Northwest Zoo and Aquarium, in their pursuit of the giant squid. I am participating in a completely voluntary and supportive role. This is their expedition. I am simply here to lend a hand and offer my experience should they need and ask for it. Should they be successful, and I hope they are, I will be first in line to see this magnificent creature of the deep at their wonderful aquarium. He smiled and hit the send button. Within hours, the article would appear in every major newspaper around the world, setting the stage for Noah Blackwood to save the day once again. Noah stood and stretched, debating whether he should order a late-night snack from his personal chef or just to go sleep in his luxurious bedroom. Snack before bed, he thought, and was about to call the galley and order it up when his computer indicated that he had an incoming email. Subject: We've been found out. From gizmo4@ewolf.com to NB, PhD@arc.org. Unfortunately, we have worn out our welcome here. As you read this, we are swimming your way. If possible, could you please send a boat to pick us up and assure our safe arrival? Butch. We, Noah thought, our safe arrival? Had Butch lost his mind? Without him and his spies aboard the Kollenkoff, Noah's plan would fall completely apart. In the last email, Butch had indicated that there was a slick problem, but he hadn't even hinted that the situation was this dire. What could have changed in such a short period of time? He hadn't heard any gunshots. He couldn't imagine Butch jumping ship for anything less than a bridge of bullets. Noah punched a button on the intercom and told the captain to launch the tender to pick up the unexpected and unwelcome passengers. If Butch didn't have an excellent excuse for abandoning the Kollenkoff, Noah would personally toss him off the endangered one and never think of him again. Alex walked into Wolf's cabin carrying a single sheet of paper. This better be good news, Wolf said. Depends on how you look at it, Al said, handing him the page. Wolf read the printout from Butch's last email. Good news, bad news, Al said. Good news, it looks like Butch is off the ship. Bad news, he does have a gizmo, and in a few minutes, Noah Blackwood is going to have the gizmo. And he's going to know where everyone aboard is located. Who jumped ship with Butch? Mitch Martin. Are you sure? Mitch has been our head maintenance chief for years. He'd be the last person, I suspect. We're tracking his tag, and it's headed directly toward Endangered One. Can we pick them up before they get there? Joe jumped into a Zodiac as soon as we intercepted the email, but Blackwood got his tender into the water before we did. We can track directly to the tag. They can't. So there's a chance we might reach Butch first. Al's radio beeped. Al here. Sorry, boss, Joe said. They got lucky. Grabbed them before I was even close. Were you close enough to see them haul them in? Negative. Wolf looked at his gizmo and saw Mitch's tag speeding toward the Endangered One. Do a sweep, Joe, Al said. Only one of them had a tag. The one we want might have gotten separated. It's not likely they got separated, Wolf said. They wouldn't be heading back to Endangered One without Butch aboard. I'm just trying to be thorough, Al said. I'll call Joe back in a few minutes. We need him back on board. Roy is handling security all on his own. Can we turn the gizmo off remotely from here so Blackwood can't use it? Wolf shook his head. No. If we could have done it with Ted. Told us he thought Butch had a gizmo. Ted can give you the technical details, but the gizmos are linked in a chain. If you take one offline, they all go offline. I should have had you monitoring the emails as soon as we found out one had been stolen. That was a huge blunder. We can turn off all the tags, making Butch gizmos virtually useless. I guess with Butch and Mitch off the ship, we don't need the tags anyway. That's if Mitch was the only one helping Butch, Al said. And if Butch actually went overboard, we don't have concrete proof that he did. Why would Butch give Mitch the gizmo? It wouldn't be much help aboard the Endangered One. You know Butch better than anybody here, Al said. How smart is he? He's pretty bright in a predatory way with incredible survival instincts, meaning he knows when to cut and run, or in this case, jump and swim. If you're asking me whether he's smart enough to fake leaving the Kollenkoff, the answer is maybe. That kind of clever thinking is in Noah Blackwood's realm, but Butch has been with Blackwood a long time. I'm sure he learned a few things from the Master. The Master sat behind his rosewood desk with his steely eyes fixed on a wet and shivering Mitch Martin. Where's Butch? He threw me overboard, Mitch shouted. I could have drowned. Well, you didn't, so shut up. Is Butch still aboard the Kollenkoff? As far as I know, Mitch said bitterly. He probably sitting in the galley having a hot cup of coffee and a slice of pie. Just before he tossed me, he gave me this. Mitch dropped the wet, waterproof bag on Blackwood's desk. Noah opened it and skimmed the papers. He stopped skimming when he got the paragraph about dinosaur hatchlings in Lab 9 that were growing so fast they were building a bigger place for them in the cargo hold. He read the paragraph twice, then looked up at a shivering Mitch Martin. This is excellent, Noah said, setting the papers on his desk and picking up the gizmo. Show me how this thing works. Mitch demonstrated how to use the gizmo. In his note, Butch said that the kids' tags and those of the others taking care of the dinosaur had been turned off. Noah typed in Albert Ike's name and saw that he was in Wolf's cabin, no doubt talking about what they were going to do. This little invention would come in very handy tomorrow morning. What's going to happen to me now? Mitch asked. Noah looked up crossly. I can't go back to cryptos, Mitch continued. Thanks to Butch, my cover's completely blown. Noah looked at him for a moment, then smiled. Are you good with your hands, Mitch? Are you kidding? I have been making my living with my hands my whole life. They're like precision instruments. I could have been a brain surgeon if I wanted to. What do you have in mind? Taxidermy, Noah said pleasantly. You mean stuffing dead animals? No, I mean fine art, the ability to make the dead come back to life. I have the perfect position for you at the Ark. You'll like it. How much does it pay? Mitch asked. Don't worry, Noah said. You'll have all the money you need. Noah looked back down at the gizmo, scanned the names with active tags, and selected one of them. Who's Theo Sonborn? He was in the moon pool area. One of the old-timers, Mitch answered. He's an idiot and lazy, and I'm not sure why Wolf has kept on all these years. I guess he's a charity case, and he's a miserable cook. He ran the galley when we set sail, and we all thought we were going to be poisoned. According to Butch's notes, the moon pool is restricted, Noah said. It is, Mitch confirmed. I've only been down there once. When I helped haul the dolphins down, there's a keypad at the entrance, and you have to have a code, which I hear they change from time to time. Why do you think Theo Sonborn is down there right now? Noah asked. Mitch shrugged his shoulders. I don't know. He seems to have access to everything. He pops up all over the place. But I've never seen him do a lick of work. The guy's a loser. Like I said, Wolf is crazy to keep him on. Noah picked up Butch's notes and looked for Theo Sonborn's name. It wasn't there. Why would Travis Wolf give a loser access to a restricted area? The gizmo flickered, and a tired-looking Travis Wolf appeared on the tiny screen. Hello, Noah. Travis. How wonderful to see you. Don't even start, Noah. I need to talk to Butch. What are you talking about, Travis? You know as well as I do that Butch is recuperating from a bout of malaria back in Seattle. He is in no condition to travel. Noah had no doubt that Wolf was taping this miniature video conference, and he had no intention of saying anything self-incriminating. And please thank Ted again for giving me this gizmo, Noah continued. Ted did not give you the gizmo, Wolf said. I stand corrected, Noah said cheerfully. He loaned it to me. Regardless, it's a wonderful invention, and I do hope you've recorded our other conversation for posterity. It will really add to the public record of our mementos expedition. What are you doing here, Noah? Noah laughed. As we agreed, my presence here is completely supportive and subordinate. I'm here to help only if you need me, which I doubt you will with the wonderful crew you've put together. We do have an agreement, Wolf said, and we have never had an agreement. Certainly not in writing, Travis, but your phone call to me asking for help is all I needed. As we discussed, old colleagues like us don't always need lawyers and contracts. Our word to each other is only contract we need. I'm simply here because you requested it. That's a lie, Wolf said. There was no phone call. We didn't ask you to come here. Noah lowered his voice and became serious. Travis, you haven't been drinking again, have you? I warned you and Ted about that all those years ago. I've told you that drinking would be your downfall if it didn't stop it. Remember the last time? There was no last time, Wolf said. Not that you and Ted could possibly remember, Noah said. You and he were passed out on your bunks when I captured the great white shark. I don't hold it against you and Ted for taking credit for catching the great white, but I did think with all the success you two have had the past few years, it meant that you had given up the bottle. Noah was now enjoying himself immensely. He, too, had seen the video of the press conference and knew he had lied on camera about the great white. He looked at the gizmo screen and saw it was recording his and Wolf's conversation. When he finished the call, he would give the gizmo to his video techs and have them edit it to make Travis look like an idiot. Where the calling cloth, a completely frustrated Travis Wolf glanced up at Al Ives, who was shaking his head. Wolf looked back at the gizmo screen and the call, but deeply concerned face of Noah Blackwood. We're shutting down all the tracking tags, Wolf said. You might as well toss the gizmo into the ocean for all the good it will do you. I wouldn't think of throwing Ted's brilliant invention into the sea. By the way, is Ted aboard? I would love to talk to him. Finally catching on to what Noah was doing, Wolf said, You know as well as I do that Ted hasn't left Kryptos in years, and he certainly wouldn't travel all the way out here. He hates the ocean and doesn't even know how to swim. That's right, Noah said. I forgot. Tell him I'd like to drop by Kryptos when we get back to the States and talk to him face to face. I'd love to see him again. Wolf cut the connection and killed the tags. That went well, As said sarcastically. Noah Blackwood could sell venom to rattlesnakes. He probably has, Wolf said glumly. Joe is still out there, Al said. He could be on and off the endangered one in 10 minutes with the gizmo in hand. Blackwood has men aboard both ships. Wolf held his hand up. And don't start, Al. I know that Joe is better than Blackwood's men. And we're not in the covert ops business anymore. Right now, we're playing defense all the way. Get Joe back on board and guard the perimeter the best you can. Al spoke into his radio. Party's over, Joe. Come back to